it's too difficult to win naturally, much less if we're going to have everyone just races for themselves and it doesn't matter, whether you're racing for a championship or not. And which, from my standpoint, I would think that, Ty would want one of us to win a championship. It's his name's on the building.
The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media.
Hey guys, welcome to Actions Detrimental post Loudon, New Hampshire, the lobster state. No,
the live free or die state.
Live free or die. Mm-hmm. That's their slogan.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Round 2, race 1 of the NASCAR playoffs. We have Corey Heim. I don't know what round or race they're in. I guess this is a cutoff for them.
Right, because they had the green and red highlights on the TV.
Yeah, they moved to a round of 8 now.
I'm glad I saw someone else on social media bring this up because I saw someone say, I'm confused. And as someone who understands playoffs, NASCAR, whatever, I turn on the TV onto Fox and it says that Corey Heim's name is in red. Others' names are in red. And I'm like, but he's leading the race. Why is he in red? Like, what's going on? What? Red is obviously, when you have red and green is good, red is bad. Am I crazy to think?
Nope.
That's typical, right?
Yep.
Red is bad, green is good. Well, they had all the people that were advancing in red and everyone that was being eliminated in green. I'm not really sure. I couldn't make a whole lot of sense of it. When I got to the racetrack, there was about 50 laps to go. We turned on the TV, and I'm sitting there going, I'm confused why these names are in red and the other names are in green. And at the time, there was no kind of live ticker of who was, how close it was or anything like that. They did give updates every now and then, but I'm not really sure on Fox's graphics department as a whole. Maybe it's time to rethink it. But certainly inversing red and green, eliminated to not eliminated, would be a good first step for them.
In Fox's defense, maybe there was a key on the screen at some point before we arrived, but it probably should be on the screen more often because I don't think it came up in those final 50 laps that we were watching.
I think that's just would have made things worse for me.
If it said, here's...
Just simply because I would have said, now they know it's screwed up, so then they have to clarify. Do you know what I mean? Let's just try to keep this uniform to what everything else is that green is good, red is bad, okay? Eliminated, red. Advancing, green. Let's just start there. We can work on the cartoon characters later.
But it doesn't mean eliminated. It just means you haven't been... You're not advancing right now.
I turned on the TV, and as someone in the sport, I didn't understand what the hell it meant because it seemed backwards to me. Ugh. Okay. Corey Heim gets his 9th win of the season. I thought that he was probably going to go into Phoenix with like 10 wins. I don't know how many races they have left, but he's
4, right? Round of 8. It's round of 8
so
now,
he might have
4.
12, 11, 12. I just hope for his sake he wins Phoenix.
They have Roval, Talladega, Martinsville. 4.
Can you imagine crowning a different champion than Corey Heim this year?
If you win the Truck Series and you're not Corey Heim, like,
just go give him the trophy. Just say, remember how John Kreese? No. It was who's Daniel LaRusso's adversary? Blonde hair in the Karate Kid. Remember he handed him the trophy at the end after he tried to take his leg out. You're looking at
Daniel Russo's main adversary depends on the context, but his most significant enemies are John Lawrence.
John Lawrence. Yeah. So John Lawrence handed Daniel LaRusso the trophy in the Karate Kid. That's what whoever if some reason Corey Heim gets a flat tire or something like that, or just has a bad pit stop, perhaps, they should just go hand him the trophy and say, "You're the most deserving." This just doesn't feel right.
How do you see so many movies? Your like movie knowledge / references runs pretty deep.
I watched a lot a long time ago. I have not watched very many movies over the last few years. But just when I was younger.
I don't think you quote like deep cuts though.
No, these are
Karate Kid's not like a.
These are wildly known movies.
There's some deep cuts though.
The fact that you don't know Office Space.
No, I don't.
You're
gonna bring this back up. I got so many texts about this.
Criminal. I mean, and over this time, you still haven't found an hour.
The fact that he still remembers that, Travis, is
because you haven't watched it yet.
Is my point.
How the stapler? Oh gosh, please take an hour and a half out of your day at some point and watch Office Space. It's fun. It's funny. So anyway, Corey Heim wins, advances, moves on. The one of the surprising eliminations from the Truck Series probably would be Chandler Smith, but he just had a bad start to the playoffs. He had a good run, finished second. Give it his best shot there at the end to catch Corey. It just wasn't quite enough. And so, I think that the path without Chandler probably for Corey becomes a little bit easier because, I thought that the front row trucks were kind of the closest ones to Tricon or Corey's truck. So that's one of those two that's eliminated. Now I think Lane Riggs is the only real challenger in speed to what Corey's got. So it seems like the path got a little bit easier after this elimination for him.
Plus 69.
Going into the next round?
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be like plus 200. Like it should be just an automatic bid at this point with that many wins. But anyway, Corey Heim won that race. We had the Cup race. Xfinity was off this week. We had Ryan Blaney win in a dominant fashion. Well, maybe not dominant from a laps led perspective, but from a raw speed, hey, that's the fastest car on the track. He won from that standpoint. And it really started on Saturday in practice. Penske dominated practice. Penske dominated, when I say the dominated practice, not just the position, it's, the lap averages and whatnot. They dominated qualifying and they dominated the race. The closest vehicle I saw closest to Ryan was Josh Berry. He had an exceptionally good long run car. He drove the wheels off of it, came from the back of the pack. That didn't take him long to make his way back up to the front and challenge Ryan for that late race win. But what's y'all's takeaways from kind of what we saw this weekend?
Well, what about Logano?
I thought he was strong. Certainly strong. A top 5 run. I mean, they're the ones that tested up there. I'm wondering how they feel today. On one hand, I would say that this was probably one of Logano's best runs in a few years. I mean, truthfully, when it comes to probably if you look at the overall driver rating, things like that, I feel like this is Logano's strongest race in years. He doesn't lead a lot of laps. Rarely qualifies on the pole anymore. But he did. He dominated the beginning of the race, and while the 12 had a slightly different strategy than what Logano did during the day, where Logano was making sure they did everything to keep him up front. They wanted to keep him with his track position, even if it was taking less tires or no tires. Where Blaney's team says, we're fast enough, we're gonna be able to come through the pack. So they took 4 tires more than the other Penske teammates, and they, while it took a little longer to show, obviously the the 12 and the 21 were the two fastest, and then I thought Logano was right there behind them.
When a team like the 22 does the tire test, is it safe to assume that all that information that they find and they get goes also to the 12?
Yeah, yeah. You would think that the others would probably base their setups around whatever the 22 team came up with during that test. And what we've seen is that Penske's got a really good test plan. When they tested North Wilkesboro, I think it was last year, the 22 team was not very strong at all during the course of the season. They tested there at that track, and I think they even attributed that to their championship. That was a pivotal moment in their season where they found something at that test, and it worked then on all short tracks from that point on. So, and he dominated and won the All-Star race as well last year.
Bell was at that test also, though. How does Penske nail this and JGR seemed to miss it?
Yeah. And we missed it by being like the 8th through 13th fastest cars, right? It just seemed like that's where we were all hanging out for the bulk of the day. Obviously, Seabell took 4 tires that last restart. He was able to get back up to 6th with those fresh tires. But, he was strong for 5-6 laps after a restart and then just very, as we would say, pedestrian after that. So I don't know. It's not like we were, well, I'll take this back. We were off by a lot. We weren't off by a lot position-wise. There was just, you had all the Penske cars, really except for Austin Cindric, which they got to be thinking, man, what a missed opportunity for them. You got to run better when your cars certainly are that fast. He certainly needed a better result than what he got. I think 17th. Yeah, 17th. Just an off day, really, for the 2. And so we just, I don't know. I felt really good about the weekend. In sim, I felt very good about it. I felt like the balance was there. Even in practice, I felt like the balance was, within reason. Certainly something that can be worked with. But, man, we just did not have the speed. And so that's usually a grip problem, where essentially, what I try to equate it to is that, the Penske cars, whatever combination they came up with their setups or their cambers and whatever it might be, it was like 3% more grip than what the field had. And that's probably even over exaggerating slightly. It's probably 1.5% more grip, which, I mean, it makes a difference. It exposes everyone else if you've got that much more grip. While it seems like a small number, it is, it's a big speed difference when you have 1 or 2% more grip. So just the combination of whatever they figured out, certainly they put it in all their cars and they were all just untouchable.
So did the weekend go as you thought it would?
No, I thought we would be faster. I thought we would be better. I thought that, I didn't get, kind of looking at like the test report, nothing jumped off at the page that the 22 was going to be, or Penske was going to be, that lights out fast. Seabell, I trust him that his feedback was that car's good, feels good. This is good. This is what I need to go win. And so when we kind of work around that, and it's someone that has had that much success there, you pretty much take it to the bank that you're going to be able to compete, but just none of us could.
In practice, he said he felt like the car was good, but then the team's like, your lap time, though, isn't there. Like, is that maybe why, like, there's just something off? Yeah,
well, I agree with Seabell on that, is that I felt the same way, that the balance did not match the lap times. And when I say we were off, I mean over on lap 30 to 35 of the run in practice, we were 0.4 off of what the 12 could run in a single lap. And that just 0.4, I said to the team, I thought we could get 1/10 of balance out of it. We're probably, if you tweak this, tweak that, make it do this, make it do that, I can get another 1/10 out of it. But the other 3, you're going to have to find the grip meter and turn that thing up. Because it just, I don't know, we didn't have that capability.
When you do these tests at these tracks, are you competing against the other teams that are there? Like, is it possible that during that test, the Toyotas could have seen like, oh, Ford's got something here that we haven't found yet, or they've got something here that we don't. Their lap times are stronger. Or are you just kind of like trying to gather as much information for yourself?
The teams all log them. They certainly keep track of other cars that are at the test. Keep track of their lap times because you do need to measure yourself at those tests. So I don't know. Was there a run where the 22 popped off a lap and then was really fast in the long run and it just got overlooked? I don't know. But certainly we didn't have any indication that it was going to be as dominant as it was.
This might be a larger discussion for a future time, but with these tests, are the drivers trying to find what's best for them and the team or for the sport, if that makes any sense?
Yes. It's a combination of both. So typically, they went there for a tire test. So they Goodyear wanted to run this new tire, this new short track type of tire that has Ware. So they're kind of rerunning a baseline of what the previous tire was. They said, here's what they call the control tire. This tire is what we ran last time. And then they'll start to put different tires on and figure out what the driver's like. Now, it depends on which driver does it. I typically try to figure out, if you want a tire that just, the guilty things that the drivers do sometimes is just say, I like the tire that blank made my car feel good. The problem with that is it's going to make everyone's car feel good. And so I try to figure out what's going to make for the best racing, right? I want a tire that maybe it is a little bit out of control, or maybe at the end of the run wears completely out. I'm going to want something that we're going to have to manage, or where setup's really going to matter. If you can just put on a set of tires to an ill-handling car and it makes it handle well, that's not going to be good for competition and certainly not going to be good for the race. So there's a combination there. The drivers usually come to somewhat of a common feeling on which direction to go to tell Goodyear we like this tire, don't like this one for this reason or that reason. But you typically want them to think about what tire will I need to hit my setup with to run well, because then you're going to have an advantage as a driver because you're the only one to get to run that tire before the others get there. So you typically want a bad handling tire on your car because you now have the advantage of that extra practice day.
Would we be better off if there were drivers that were there to test and not active Cup drivers?
I don't think so. I think you need the guys that are actually competing week in, week out, because they understand, what we fight in the cars during the race. And, they understand that lap time fall off is what produces variance in speed of cars, where someone like, that's what allowed Josh Berry to come through the pack, is that he had a faster car than others, and so he was able to show his talents and show off his car speed. You want that to be able to be a thing, and so I just think that you got to keep it with your current guys because they're the most knowledgeable. You just couldn't bring in a quote unquote test driver because these Cup cars change week in, week out too much, and you need to be in tune with them.
Chris Gabehart said post-race that the biggest takeaway from today is that with this aero package, and with the same tire at Phoenix, the Penske cars are completely untouchable again. Is this a huge red flag for anyone not named Penske?
Probably should be. Yeah, this is I think this is our Phoenix tire, and I do know that this is the Phoenix Aero package. So, yeah, I think could be deja vu.
Is it the same Aero package and tire that was at Gateway, or is that different?
No,
different.
That's different. I know, it's how we pick that week in, week out. I do not know. I don't know the algorithm to it.
So at this point, are you just hoping that a Penske car doesn't make it to Phoenix? Is that the best defense?
Whatever. If you're not a Penske fan, that's probably what you should hope. Yeah,
because you can't. Like you're just not going to be able to make up that ground in the next 5 weeks.
If we re-racked and ran tomorrow, we would have the same result.
Right,
It
but
is
what if
gonna
you
take
re-rack and run in
extensive-
5 weeks?
It will take an extensive overhauling of philosophy to get another 2% of grip out of our cars. We're not going to be able to tweak our way to the speed that the Penske cars had. And if they carry that speed, we're not going to be able to overcome. We will not overcome that. If it correlates to Phoenix.
Right. Let's assume it does. What this camber and 1% grip, like where does that come from?
Well, I say camber. It's oversimplifying. It's what makes a setup of a race car. If you actually looked at a setup sheet of, this Camry right here, it's probably hundreds of different settings that you both, again, this is a Lego set, right?
Right.
And you put it together any way you want to come to an outcome. It's moving this piece. Okay, I moved this piece. Now I need to adjust that piece. And it's just coming up with like we said, the balance is good. It's how can you get that balance with some kind of different, how can you put it together differently to come up with that same balance, right?
Right.
I don't know if what's your question?
I don't know. You just like maybe I'm oversimplifying, but if this is a Lego set, I see the best final product is here, right? And that's Ryan Blaney yesterday,
right?
And I have the pieces that I'm working with, and I know that the pieces that I got here can get me here. I just got to figure out how to get.
We think. I mean, there are still small differences in the car itself, but I don't think it's aerodynamics. I think this is a mechanical grip thing. It's just we're not running really fast enough for there to be that big disparity in speed. So you're saying if we know that this is possible,
I know what X equals.
Yeah.
I don't know what Y is, but I know Z.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like there's smart people.
There is
in the garage.
But Jared, it would be. It's just so difficult. I mean, it's difficult. You need almost tons of track days to figure that out. And maybe Penske came to New Hampshire in that test and says, okay, there's two types of setups we would like to try because the computer shows that they're pretty equal in lap time. So which one, put it in, Joey, and tell us which one you think has more grip. Now, there'll be 2 points of reference. One is the actual lap times, and one will be Joey's feedback of, I think this one has more capability or this one handles better or whatever. Sometimes the computer doesn't always give you, it gives you mostly the correct answer, but it's still, like what theoretically the computer would say is your fastest setup that you can build you typically can't drive that because it saturates all 4 tires evenly and you're just going to be out of control. You would have to drive it so perfectly that it's almost impossible. It's why they say Max Verstappen is so fast in F1, is that when you turn the steering wheel in his car, he says it's on like ultra sensitive mode. He has it turning so aggressively by itself that each tire is like gripping the track the same. But most drivers can't handle a car that drives that way. He can. So his cars always have more capability of speed because he has mastered his craft in driving that car that is super sensitive. I know this is really getting technical, but I typically can go faster myself. Like the team knows that my setup might not be the fastest on paper, but I'm going to be able to get the most out of that setup. If that makes any sense.
How much changed?
And every driver is different.
But how much changed from last year where Bell won there?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I thought last year Bell was P1 in speed. I thought we were right there. I thought we were probably the second fastest car. And by a little margin, not a lot of margin. And then, I don't know, this year, I thought the balance was not bad and just clawing and fighting for 10th.
Is the grip what was the problem for you on restarts?
Yeah. It was a combination of things, but yes, the bottom lane restarts that I had were horrendous. It's not like the initial jump was bad. It's just I would get pinned down there and I could not get back up when I needed to get up. And so I always kind of I didn't always, but the numbers that we have says, okay, take the inside line here. And while I might gain a row, I end up, I lost far more than what I gained with my choose.
So why take it then?
It just takes one bobble from someone up high to get you 3 free positions. All it takes is one person on that outside line to bobble, leaves you an opening. Now you got that free lane of cars for free. It costs you nothing, and you're able to get up, and the next thing you know, you've gained spots, and you essentially did nothing. The preferred lane is the preferred lane for a reason. People sometimes take back a row to take the preferred lane and say, all right, I'm willing to have to gain multiple positions on this restart just to break even from where I was. Now, we weren't great on restarts anyway. So we biased our numbers to make myself choose more of the preferred lane, but the preferred lane was so stacked that so many cars took it that I had no choice but to take the extra 2 rows of cars. And then when I couldn't get up, and lost 8 spots. So, I don't know. I just, my car was not good on restarts. I wasn't good on restarts. I couldn't get up. I felt very low on grip for, 5 to 6 laps. In the long run, I felt like I was competitive. But yeah, that was a restart type of race where you needed to make all your positions up those first 2 or 3 laps.
You ranked 22nd.
On restart?
Yeah.
I thought that was generous.
Yeah, watching it just looked like your car just fell back to probably where it should have been. Like you ran 6th for a handful of laps, but then you fell back to 10th. And then you ran 15th for a little bit, but then you moved up to 10th, 11th. And just felt like that's
where we were.
That's where you're supposed to
day.
be.
We were, that 8th to 12th all day. That's just where we landed. And yes, while I thought Man, I mean, the pit crew did a great job.
They were first.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did a great job on that last restart or the last pit stop, 4-tire stop and last 2-tire stop. We gained on both. Got me to restart, I think, 5th. Just couldn't make anything happen, which was disappointing because they got me the position that I wanted. And still, I mean, we're going to finish 5th before freaking Cody Ware tried to wreck Austin Dillon. I think we were running 5th, right behind Byron and Larson. So we're still going to have a good day.
What do you make of when a driver that far back is doing something like that?
That was just stupid. Just dumb. Rule number 1 is you never wreck yourself when you're trying to wreck someone else. And just, I don't know. I don't think Rick Ware Racing is in a position to be tearing up race cars. But I don't know. I get he's upset. I guess what happened was Austin spun him earlier in the race. Is that what it was? Austin was about to go a lap down.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was 40 laps to go, and Cody felt like that was the time to get back at him, and instead, certainly altered our finish and probably others. Some for the better, some for the worse. But I mean, just gotta let these races play out naturally, and that one didn't.
All in all, were you happy with or content with the way this race shaked out for you now, plus 27?
No, I mean, this is a race where I wanted to leave plus 40. So, I don't know, just a little behind schedule on as far as that is concerned. But I don't know. It was an okay day. I think we finished, again, like you said, within like 2 positions of where we were supposed to finish. We were probably going to overachieve by running top 5 there. But you don't always get what you want.
Because the 11 team's mindset, right, is still leave Kansas with enough of a buffer that the Roval's not a huge deal for
I don't
y'all.
think anyone wants to have to go to the Roval and need a 45-point day to advance. That's just a lot to ask. So I don't know. You just do the best you can to get these points on these racetracks where you feel like you should be strong. But we just missed it. All of our teams missed it.
Hey, this is Dale Jr., and for the latest Actions Detrimental gear, go to shop.dirtymomedia.com. We've got plenty of options for you. We're adding new stuff all the time. That's shop.dirtymomedia.com.
How many points up after Kansas would make you happy going into the Roval?
I'm not really sure. As long as we just keep extending over the cut line, I'd probably be happy with that. Again, anything over 35, 40 points is going to be hard. It's just the Roval is a really tough track to score stage points and finish well. So you're not going to see, typically at that track, you don't see a lot of big point days out of that racetrack, just simply because if you take one, it's really hard to finish well. And so, a typical day for someone that runs up front at the Roval is probably 35 points. Like, that's a really good day.
Another noteworthy event from this race early in stage 2 between you and the 54. What happened there?
Yeah, we just we were racing really too hard, and what in my mind was entirely too hard. And I know this is going to trigger some people about racing hard. When you're racing a teammate, A, a teammate, and B, a teammate with nothing to gain. Like, we're not. I agree that everyone should race win the race. However, we're not racing to win the race. We're racing at the time for 11th place. We're battling me, the 20, the 19. We're all battling and scratching and clawing to try to get some stage points, which is going to be life or death for us. It's our air that we need to move on. I felt as though, a little bit wronged in the sense of, my teammate out of the playoffs should not be the hardest car on the track to pass. I mean, for God's sakes, Ross Chastain let me by. If there's anyone that probably, he's on the cut line. But even in the first stage, like I pressured him. And he's like, well, Heath, more than likely what he thought was that, well, I'm not going to hold him up for this entire 60-lap run. I might as well just get back in line, try to keep it from someone else joining this party and passing me along with you. And so it's just, this is the racecraft that I feel like is missing that understanding the situation. And certainly I felt as though this thing is hard enough to win anyway. But if you're going to have to race your teammates harder than anyone on the racetrack, then this will be really, really tough for any one of us to win.
Is there a philosophy within these race teams or even just in JGR on how teammates should race each other in these situations? Or is it not like a clear thing where everyone's on the same page about it?
Well, I don't think we're on the same page. I have always went back to what is the last thing Joe has said when it comes to non-playoff cars and playoff cars. He has had this conversation multiple times with everyone in the room, but I think it probably needs to be said again. And so what I've heard is that if you're a non-playoff car, any break that you can cut your teammates, please do. And so I probably got a little upset, a little hot under the collar because, first of all, I was a witness to the 54 and the 20 thing, right? I was right there behind it, and I'm watching it, just shaking my head. Now, there was just a lot of tire smoke, both from the inside and the outside on that one. It was just tough to watch. And then I apparently, when you go back and you listen to Ty's audio, he got really upset about the 20 car at that point. And I think whoever got to him next, he was going to be difficult to. And unfortunately, I was the next guy in line to pass him. And again, we had actually, me and the 20 were fighting so hard to get around the 54 that we ended up fighting each other. And then finally, when we got singled out, we both ran him down again. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to go on by. I'm clearly faster. And it was just aero block this corner, aero block that corner. And then when you get beside, it's like, okay, like what else do I have to prove that we're clearly faster? I'm definitely going to pass you. We got 60 laps to the end of this stage. What are we doing? You're not going to hold me off for 60 laps. The 20 is right behind me. These are your two teammates that need these points. I didn't understand where the mindset was there, and I still don't. But if it's possible, Ty feels like he doesn't owe us anything, and that's just a different mindset, and it's okay to have. But you would think that one day the roles would be reversed, and certainly he probably would be upset if we did not let him go if the roles were reversed and he was fighting to move on to the next round.
Were you going into turn one? Were you just trying to move him up out of the groove and get by him?
Well, it was twofold because I was pretty much there into turn one, and then he moved down to the middle lane to like cut the nose off to make me, get really. I lost my page. So if you cut across someone's nose, especially if they're running really close to you, it'll make their car kind of lift up and take off. So I think he was just trying to cut across my nose to make me lose air, just to further aero block me. And I was so close to him that I'm like, hell no, you're not going to do that. And so, yeah, I tried to shove him up to the next lane to get my position. And unfortunately, it spun him out.
Y'all are going to have your competition meetings this afternoon. How does this get resolved ahead of that or during that? Is it a conversation with just Ty? Chris Gabehart is obviously in this now, who you have a great relationship with per past years.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm asking, what I want to happen is just leadership step in and tell us, what do you want us to do? If you want us all to just race each other cutthroat, no matter what your position is in stature in the standings, we can definitely do that. Like, I expect myself and the 19 and the 20 to race really, really hard because we're all battling each other to get above this cut line or maintain our status above the cut line. If I get eliminated or the 19 gets eliminated or the 20 gets eliminated, and then we've established this no rules, you guys just do whatever you want to do, that's just, none of us are going to win. You're racing against where we have seen year in, year out, and it will continue to happen more and more, like it or not. Teammates are going to start giving spots this time of the year. This is the time of the year, and it's just going to get more and more. You're not always going to see it. It won't always be on TV, but starting with about 5 races to go, you're going to see those that are out of the playoffs or those who have affiliations will start heeding spots to those who need it. And so if you're going up against that and not only not being good teammates, but yet being the most difficult ones to pass, none of us have a shot. We might as well just hang this thing up because it's too difficult to win naturally, much less if we're going to have everyone just races for themselves and it doesn't matter, whether you're racing for a championship or not. And which, from my standpoint, I would think that, Ty would want one of us to win a championship. It's his name's on the building.
What do you say to those that say you're too talented of a driver, you didn't accidentally wreck him, that you did it on purpose? What do you say to those people that are saying that?
Well, you can see that we were making contact when he pulled down to the middle lane right in front of me. We were already together. Like, it took nothing. And no, I wish I was that good. If it was the case, then I wouldn't have wrecked Chase Elliott when I tried to move him up the racetrack back in 2017. So it's just, it all depends on what point of the racetrack you're at. Loads of the cars. There's just lots of variables on whether you hit someone at a point where their car is already on edge or not.
So there hasn't been any dialogue, text,
like for instance, who hit who harder? Brad Keselowski to Christopher Bell last week, or me on Ty? Like, let's be real. They're not the same because of load variances and things like that. Point of the corners, all that stuff kind of matters. And so certainly the bump that I had was more of a push, not an actual hit.
You said that you wanted them to, the higher ups to, handle this, but Joe said this is the drivers. So is that you and Ty just having a conversation, or the 4 drivers getting together, or?
Yeah, the challenge is I think that me and Ty are going to be on we'll have different opinions. Therefore, you need leadership to step in and say, well, this is how we want it done. And then we will play by those rules. Whatever those rules are, I will play by those rules. But I've been told in the past, if you're not in it, you do everything you can to help your teammates that are in it.
When's the last time that statement was told to the drivers? It's been some time.
Yeah. Last year sometime.
It feels like though.
Well, okay, so but Ty was in one of those meetings is what I'm asking. So yeah.
It's been said.
Okay.
It feels like too that it's just a difference in opinion.
Which
and
that's what set my expectation that this wouldn't happen. But it,
Yeah, and you look, the Penskes are hard enough to beat anyways, and you look how much they work together.
I agree.
Speaking of Ryan Blaney, now on to the round of 8. They say that if you're going to win a race, you want to win the first one in a round, right?
It's typically the best. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about anything in the next couple weeks. He can focus on his Martinsville, Talladega, and where else?
Las Vegas.
In Vegas, yeah. Can work on those racetracks. Yeah, it is. The win in advance just kind of, now these next 2 weeks essentially don't mean anything to Ryan, which is a little bit of the beef of the format, is that the win and you're in, next thing you know, like Bristol for me, 2 weeks ago or last week, it was like, oh, well, our 37th place finish really didn't matter or whatever we finished.
And the reset.
Right? And so, you can just focus on those racetracks because that's ultimately going to be your ticket to racing at Phoenix. And they know if they can get to Phoenix, they're going to be heavy favorites.
Some cars that weren't as fortunate in this race yesterday, 2311 Toyotas of Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick.
Not good weekend for them. And it just seemed like wherever we were, they were 10 spots behind, right? It just, no speed. I kind of looked at Bubba's in-car when I rewatched the race. He had his hands full. He was pedaling his car off the corner all race long. And like his car looked like how mine felt. Now, I wasn't quite as active with my hands as what Bubba was, but it just seemed like, if we were mediocre, they were below mediocre. Just didn't have the speed, didn't have the handling, whatever it was. It's just not good.
Are they in more or less must-win territory now with Kansas?
No, must-win is not something. Must-win is you're below 30 points out going into the last race. Like, that's must-win. With 2 races to go, just too much other stuff can happen. You can go out there and you can have yourself a 50-point day at Kansas, and next thing you know, I bet you're going to be -5,
but
maybe flat.
But what's a 50-point day? Top 5 in each stage and then top 5 in the race?
That's like a top 3 all around.
50-point day is top 3 all around.
Yeah.
So it's more or less must win. You're gonna have to
It's
go
not
to the
must win. It's
you're gonna have
must
to go to
run
the
really well.
You're gonna have to go to the track with a car that, if you finish 3rd throughout the race, you probably have a car that's capable of winning.
Right.
So it's go to the track with a car that's capable of winning, I guess.
Right. You must run really well. They are in a must run really well part of the playoffs. Yeah. They have to run well the next 2 weeks. They have to run really well at one. Like, they need a 50-point day, and then they need to follow that up at the next track with a 35-point day, and I think they have a chance.
It's got to be a bit deflating, especially for the 23 team, considering how well the first 3 races of the playoffs went, and then you get reset, and then you have one bad race, and now you're...
I know. It's crazy. It is crazy. Same goes for Chase Briscoe. He's only 12 points up. Right? I mean, the start of his playoffs couldn't be any better. And then they reset the score on him. And so, it's just part of the format. And so, you just one bad race just makes it look really bad, especially when it's the first race after a reset.
I mean, look at where Logano was going into this round.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they got to feel really good about being minus and now plus 24. I mean, I guess they feel pretty good. Probably feel like halfway through the race, they're thinking, okay, we're going to win this thing in advance. When they didn't win, that's why I said at the beginning of the show, I wonder how Logano's team is feeling, right? Is that, man, we had a great points day. We ran as good as we run in years, but yet we're still only plus 24, and our mile-and-a-half performance has been okay, you know. But at the Roval last year, the 22 team, I thought was very, very impressive. I mean, they needed to have a great day. And while he didn't advance until the DQ, I was really impressed with how fast the 22 was last year at the Roval.
Your predictions for who gets eliminated, you already have one wrong pick. You had Blaney
I had Blaney what?
getting eliminated.
Oh. Well, that's clearly wrong.
Speaking of, we talking about the playoff format. Gluck said the playoff committee met this week. Anything noteworthy that you thought come out of the conversation?
That I can share, not really. I think they probably covered it. I just would not get your hopes up on a 36 race.
I feel like that's ship sailed.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of arguments for it. A lot of arguments for it. And I understand. And it definitely would crown the most deserving champion. However, we would be one of the only, I'm trying to think, one of the only sports without a playoff. But, I mean, F1 doesn't have a playoff, right? They just have just standings. And my hope is that it does get simplified. You know, I want those that perform well over the, first 2/3 of the season to be rewarded more than 5 points. If there is bonus points, playoff bonus points, just, whatever it is, like, I just want the guys that show excellence every week to be rewarded for that and not have to fight every 3 weeks with a reset, to take away their advantage that they have built. And so surely there's a format out there that can give a little bit to everyone. And I think it's possible. From what I've seen proposed, we're on the right track. And it's certainly going to be better than what we have.
How many points would you like to see the winner get? Bonus.
Well, I think that it should reward more regular season points. So right now, I think it's, it might be bad. I don't know this. I think it's 40 to win the race and 35 for second or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that needs to be much bigger gap, which is why I want to eliminate the win and you're in type of thing. Just reward the win with a lot of points. So, it's 60. It needs to be a significant amount over, I think that one thing that was kind of brought up is that the winner of the race only scored the most points of the race, 30% of the time. Something like that, right? And it's like, you probably, they need to be rewarded by winning the grand prize, which is getting the checkered flag. You should probably get rewarded more regular season points for that. Now, if we have bonus points as well, where my stance is on that, is that I thought that all bonus points should be doubled. Stage wins should be 2, not 1. All playoff points should be doubled. That gives your front runners a bigger and righteous head start. And then you don't reset. That is my stop resetting. If you want to reset it once, that's fine, but they got to stop the resets.
Yeah, you're looking like this past weekend, Kyle Larson finished 7th, had more points than Josh Berry finished 2nd.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
Assuming we had a 36 race format, who do you think right now would be most deserving of that based on the totality of the season?
Wow. That's a close one. I think William Byron has been good. They got back on the horse this week. I mean, you could make an argument for 4 to 5 guys, really, and I don't think we could call them out, but you're not going to be surprised by any of the names that I say.
Here's the Winston Cup standings.
Yeah, but just remember with Winston Cup, I see those standings all the time. It does not reward stage points, which I am a proponent of. I do think that it is unfair if you run up front all race and get wrecked on a green white checkered and finish 36 and you get 1 point. Like, that's bullshit. You should be rewarded for running up front the entire race, which is why we give stage points. I think stage points are important for our sport. It gives us something to race for throughout the entire race. So the Winston Cup does not equate it. It's the old format, but it only rewards finishes, not how you're actually running, which my guess is Chase Elliott's probably pretty high on that.
It is Bell, Briscoe, Elliott are your top 3.
Yeah. And those are probably your best 3 average finishes. That pretty much is how that equates.
Yep. 12.3 is Bell's, Elliott's 12.5, Briscoe's 12.6.
Yeah, so it's just going off of average finish, essentially. So, I think Byron runs up. It feels like his average running position is really, really good. So is Blaney's. I think they would probably rank pretty high if you gave stage points and ran it through the whole year.
Hypothetically speaking, if there's a change to this playoff format come next year, and let's pretend it's just no longer a 1-race finale, and you've got like a 3-race finale or something, the schedule's not changing, so Talladega would be in that. Do you feel any sort of way about Talladega being one of the final 3 tracks?
Not if it is part of a bigger sample size. I guess you got to be okay with it because you can't change it, type of thing. Yeah, you just have to deal with it. It's better than 1. It just as long as we get away from the 1 race thing. That's and honestly, the more races they can give us, the better. If we want the playoffs, why? I was such a fan of the 10-race chase because you never questioned Jimmy Johnson's one of his titles. You just knew, and that guy he'd fall behind in the first part of the playoffs, and that dude would make a run in the race 5, 6, 7, 9, just reel off wins, and next thing you know, that dude is back up to the top. Like, just the runs he would make would be epic, and I would love for them to give us the biggest sample size that they can give us, whatever they feel comfortable with. Anything more than 1.
In that type of format, how many duds could you have? Like a dud of a race and still compete.
In how many races?
In that 10-race format.
2. If you can be exceptional, the others, yeah. You can have 2 races.
It also depends on how your competitors.
Yeah, I just mean on average.
Yeah, I think you still got 80% of the time that you can go out there and bust off a bunch of stage points, win a few races. Absolutely.
We got Kansas coming up next week, 1 p.m. Saturday practice and qualifying, 3 p.m. Sunday race on USA Network.
Yeah, look forward to Kansas, one of my favorite tracks. Certainly one of my better 1.5-mile racetracks. Won there plenty of times, so looking forward to that.
Who won the spring Kansas race?
Gosh, I don't even know. Feels like a year ago. God, time is flying. Like,
Kyle Larson. I should know that.
Your favorite driver?
Yeah, I don't even know what happened that race. I don't know. I'll start to work on it today. What you got?
Off track. Is the boat working? Where are we at?
Yeah.
You're going to Instagram for help. What's going on?
I was really wanting to go out for the sunset fish, fish jump around my house, man. Right around sunset, it just started jumping out of the water. And so I was trying to go out there, and my kill switch, I know this sounds really simple, but it was like in an in-between position where it looked like it was up, but it was slightly off. And so it was, that's essentially what it was. And so Instagram did work because many people were like, kill switch. And I was like, no, it's not that simple. And I'm thinking, I'm like, well, it worked when I pulled it up. I did reach over there and put a water bottle down near it. Maybe I hit it. And so I did.
But when one of your power poles isn't coming up out of the water, you got a boat guy that you call. When you got an issue with your boat, you got a boat guy you can call.
Not at that time of night.
What time was it? 9 o'clock?
I don't know. It was something like that.
So Instagram works. You're telling me?
I did. I contacted the person, and he was like, yeah, not really sure. I'm going to have to get with the tech people, and we'll get back with you tomorrow. And so I'm like, I don't want to wait till tomorrow. So I asked Instagram for help. And the consensus was, check this. And so I checked it, and it was like, oh, I did hit it accidentally.
Amazing.
There was a guy.
Back.
There was a guy fishing right next to your dock this morning. I almost went out there and told him to get away.
You're like the dogs. Shoo! Row, row, row. You know,
Can't be
trying to get the geese away.
Can't be getting our fish.
No, I know. We're a hot spot out here, man. I'm telling you, I got a honey hole.
Have you brought much fish up out of it?
A few. I caught 2 f***ing catfish the other night. Those things put up a great fight.
Why is that not like? Why is that?
Why is it not rewarding?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you just can't really reach into their mouth like a bass. Like, just, I don't know, they're slimy.
But isn't like the fight like a little more rewarding?
No, not really. Bass are harder to catch.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I got a review here from Midpack Hack 8130.
That's a great name.
Still not a Denny fan, but his podcast is the best look inside the car and a driver's brain for any racing series out there. Keep it up. Hey, shout out, by the way, to New Hampshire this weekend. That felt like a great crowd, great atmosphere.
That was. I love going out to the
Great
Toyota.
weather.
Yeah. What do they call it? The Toyota.
Not this again.
They have a name for it. What? Do I never know the name?
I know.
It's the Toyota stage appearance.
I know.
That's
That's
what we
what it
call it.
says on my calendar, but it's called the Toyota something. Anyway, it was right outside the racetrack off of turns 1 and 2. Yes. The crowds that come for my Q&As, man, they bring the hype. It makes it a lot of fun. It's certainly my favorite appearances to go to.
And to any fans listening to this, whether you're a fan of Denny or a fan of any other driver, the signs are a great way of showing your fandom
And
to any driver. It doesn't have to be you, can be anybody. They're amazing. I wish the tracks would like create more opportunities like that. Just any opportunity to showcase more fandom of this sport, the better.
Yeah. It gives you something to take a picture of.
Exactly. And that's really all I'm looking for. But
It's all about Jared.
but it's great. I loved when they did at Bristol that one year. You had that one appearance with Kenny Wallace, and they gave out signs for fans to write messages on. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good idea for sure.
It's a little college game day-esque, I guess.
All right. Well, Kansas, man, let's just go get a dub, get it over with, right? Right, Trav?
That'd be nice. The second race again. I don't want to deal with the Roval and the stress.
Me too. I'm with you. All right. See you next week.